Let's start with a question you probably don't ask yourself enough. Which part of you has died without you even noticing? It's not a pleasant question. It's a question that makes you uncomfortable, that opens wounds. But we're not here to be comfortable. We've come to say what no one wants to say out loud. We live in an era where thinking hurts. Literally. Where questioning is a subversive act, and where silence has been replaced by a constant rain of notifications, empty messages, and prefabricated urgencies. You get up, check your phone, an entire world contained in a glass screen. But what remains of you when you turn off the light? Modern culture isn't entertaining you, it's numbing you. It's a perfect trap. While you believe you're informing yourself, they manipulate you. While you think you're connecting, they isolate you. And worst of all, while you think you're thinking, you're simply repeating. When was the last time you read a book without checking your phone every 5 minutes? When was the last time you were alone with your thoughts without feeling invaded by an invisible anxiety? It's not you who's broken, it's the design. We've been programmed to live reacting. Instant emotions, immediate rewards, easy dopamine, like dogs learning to press a lever to get a cookie. But in this case, the cookie is like a comment, cheap validation. And that validation is the new drug. Think about it. Algorithms know more about you than your family. They know you better than you know yourself. They know what scares you, what angers you, what excites you, and they use it against you. They bombard you with emotional noise. Polarized politics, prefabricated scandals, fake debates, all to keep you in a constant state of agitation. Because an agitated mind can't think. It only reacts. And a mind that only reacts is easy to control. Ignorance is not an accident. It's a strategy. We live in the information age, and, paradoxically, also in the era of massive ignorance. Because knowledge is no longer valued. What matters is the appearance of knowing. Arrogance disguised as opinion. Everyone has a voice, but few have something to say. Technology, which should have freed us, has become our new cage. A golden cage, with pretty filters and constant updates. But it's still a cage, because freedom is not being able to say anything you want. Freedom is being able to think for yourself. And that is what is dying. The ability to think, to stop, to ask yourself if what you feel, what you believe, really belongs to you or is just an echo of what others repeat. Introspection has been replaced by exhibition, wisdom by prefabricated phrases, silence by constant noise. We are raising generations who believe knowledge fits in a tweet, who think reading headlines is the same as understanding, who believe arguing means insulting and being right means shouting louder. But all of that is smoke. Meme culture has killed critical thinking. We laugh at everything because thinking is scary. And that's normal. Thinking means facing yourself. And what if what you find is unpleasant? It's easier to distract yourself. It's easier to consume without pause. It's easier to live on autopilot. But there are consequences. A society without deep thinking is a manipulable society, emotionally fragile, without identity. And that's what we are seeing. People who explode at any criticism, who get offended by everything, who don't tolerate disagreement, because they haven't been educated for debate, but for applause. And the most ironic thing, in the midst of so much connection, we feel lonelier than ever. Because the soul is not nourished by likes, the spirit doesn't grow with 5-second reels, and the mind doesn't strengthen with empty motivational phrases. So, what's left? Resistance remains, silent disobedience, the radical act of reading a whole book, turning off your phone for an entire afternoon, thinking before expressing an opinion, doubting before sharing. What remains is the brutal exercise of being with yourself without distractions, observing your thoughts, not being afraid of the void, because only in the void is the true born. What remains is rebuilding conscious communities, people who don't seek virality but truth, who don't want to please but to understand, who don't repeat what's popular but question what's established. Conscious silence remains as a tool of war, because in a world that screams, silence can be the most powerful form of rebellion. In a world where everyone opines without thinking, thinking without speaking is revolutionary. And no, it won't be easy. You are surrounded by distractions designed to seduce you. Your attention is the most valuable resource on the planet right now, and everyone wants a piece of it. But you can decide to whom you give it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being awake. It's about asking yourself every day, is this thought mine, or has it been implanted in my head? Is this desire authentic, or is it part of a script someone wrote for me? The greatest rebellion today is not shouting, it's thinking. Because thinking is becoming the owner of your mind again. And a mind that owns itself is uncontrollable. Think about this. The powerful no longer need armies to dominate. They just need to control your emotions. If they can make you react without thinking, they've already won. They want you emotionally unstable. They want you at war with others. They want you outraged, exhausted, distracted. Because while you fight imaginary enemies, you don't see the real cage, but the cage is there, and it looks like a feed. Every time you swipe your finger, someone decides what you see. Every time you comment, someone measures how you react. Every time you share, someone calibrates your mind. And while you believe you choose, they decide. Freedom begins when you question what you consume. When you stop accepting everything as truth just because it comes wrapped in attractive design. When you understand that emotions are also manipulated, that outrage is also manufactured, that opinion is also shaped. This is the silent collapse of thought, a fall without noise. Because it doesn't make a sound when minds turn off, it's only noticed by the void they leave behind. But it's happening. And if you do nothing, it will happen to you too. Resisting is a verb in danger of extinction. But as long as there is one who reads, who writes, who doubts, who observes, who dares to be silent while everyone else screams, then there is still hope. Because amid this deafening noise, there is a truth they haven't been able to destroy. Wisdom doesn't die. It only hides, waiting for someone to have the courage to look for it. Rebel! That is the challenge. Don't let them catch you. Don't let them buy you. Don't let them turn you into a shadow of yourself. Read, reflect. Listen with your heart, not with the algorithm. And above all, protect your mind as if it were the last sacred thing left. Because maybe it is. And now that you are here, that you have come this far, let me ask you another question. Not a comfortable question, nor kind, nor superficial. I want to know this. Who thinks for you when you are not thinking? Because if it's not you, then it's someone else, and that should terrify you. On the surface, you are free. You make decisions, you choose what to watch, what to think, what to consume. But look closely. Everything you believe you chose was previously offered. Everything you believe you thought was already designed. Everything you believe you felt was already programmed for you. The trap is not that they tell you what to think. The trap is that they make you believe you thought it yourself. That's what the system does. It doesn't impose, it insinuates, it doesn't force, it seduces. It offers you so many options that you end up believing you chose freely. But all options are versions of the same mold, versions of the same prison. And you, without realizing it, choose your own bars. That is the new dominion, the illusion of autonomy. And here comes the concept no one wants to face: the engineering of desire. Yes, what you desire, what you long for, what you believe would make you happy. None of that is spontaneous. It's directed, manufactured, pushed silently into your mind without you noticing. Marketing no longer sells products. It sells identities. You don't buy an object anymore. You buy an image of yourself, a narrative, an encapsulated validation. Every purchase is an affirmation of who you believe you are. Every click, a silent confession. Every story you watch, every influencer you follow, is part of an invisible choreography where you don't dance. They make you dance. You are not the choreographer. You are the puppet who believes it's improvising. And the problem is, the more you believe it, the deeper the trap falls. Because you feel free, special, different, just as they want you to feel. But you are predictable. You are just another statistic, a behavior anticipated by an algorithm trained to know you better than you know yourself. That is the most dangerous form of slavery. The one lived with a smile. The one that looks like choice. The one that looks like comfort. The one disguised as being yourself. They told you that being authentic is showing yourself, sharing, posting, exposing yourself. But no one taught you to stay with yourself in silence, to desire from within and not from the screen, to say, "This is me," without needing approval. And here is where the real conflict begins. Because if they tear away the desires that weren't yours, if you expose them, if you dismantle them, what's left? Who are you without your likes? Who are you without your digital aesthetics? Who are you without the reflection you built based on external stimuli? That emptiness, that sensation of vertigo, is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the exact place where reconstruction begins. Because only when you break the mirror can you start to see. To really see, without filters, without edits, without lies. And I know it's not comfortable. Comfort is part of the system. They sell it to you as a prize, as a goal. But really, it's the anesthesia that precedes the total shutdown of consciousness. Your desire does not belong to you as long as it remains reactionary, as long as it's infected by what you saw 1,000 times without noticing. Remember this: what is repeated the most is not the most true. It's the most profitable. And as long as you keep desiring what everyone desires, you will remain part of the masses. And the masses don't think. They only respond. If you want to regain control, wanting something different is not enough. You have to question the origin of each of your desires. Ask yourself, does this belong to me or was it implanted? There begins resistance, not with shouting, not with cardboard rebellions, but with a silent, internal daily war. The war to rescue your mind from the hands that molded it without your permission. Desiring consciously, thinking without a script. That is the most revolutionary act of our time. Because in an era where everything is designed to distract you, focusing your attention is a form of radical freedom. And in a culture that rewards immediate reaction, stopping to think is an act of courage. So here's the raw truth. You won't find your essence in what you show. You'll find it in what you resist. You are not what you desire. You are what you decide not to desire. There lies your power, and also your threat. Because a person who knows how to desire for themselves is ungovernable. And that is the kind of person this system doesn't want you to be. And just when you start to wake up, When you realize that what you desired wasn't yours, another enemy appears, more subtle, more intimate: haste. The hurry to arrive, to achieve something, to prove your worth, to succeed before 30, to go viral, to live a movie-like life, before having really lived yours. And here is the new silent virus, the artificial acceleration of time. We live with the clock glued to our neck, as if the world ends tomorrow. But it's not because time has become shorter. It's because they've stolen our patience. They've taught us that if it doesn't happen now, it's not worth it. That if you don't see immediate results, you're failing. That if you don't have constant proof of your worth, you have no worth. But who defines that pace? Who told you that you had to have everything figured out by 20? Who decided success is measured by speed? I'll tell you, the same structure that sells you prefabricated goals is the one that later punishes you for not reaching them at the pace it imposes. And you, instead of stopping, run more. More anxiety, more guilt, more comparison, more demand, like a hamster in a wheel that leads nowhere, because that is the big trick of contemporary culture, turning you into your own oppressor. You don't need anyone to pressure you anymore. You demand it from yourself. You watch yourself. You punish yourself. With every scroll, with every like that doesn't come, with every achievement of another that feels like your failure. And meanwhile, the essential is left behind. Deep thinking, which needs time. Reflection, which needs space. Wisdom, which is not born in haste, but in rest. But who has rest today? Who allows themselves to stop without feeling guilty? Here comes a brutal idea. Resting is also an act of resistance. Yes. In a society obsessed with producing, comparing, and performing, stopping is rebelling. Closing your eyes and doing nothing for a while is almost revolutionary, because in that emptiness, in that silence that costs you so much, the real appears, where the false fades away, where you truly listen to yourself. But of course, the system doesn't want you to rest. It wants you distracted. Resting is healing. Distracting yourself is avoiding. And here is the most subtle trap of all. They've disguised evasion as entertainment. And they've done it so well that you no longer know when you're taking care of yourself and when you're escaping from yourself. Hours watching videos, series, posts, all to avoid thinking about what really matters, to avoid feeling what hurts you, to avoid hearing what your body tries to tell you. And the more you distract yourself, the emptier you feel. And the emptier you feel, the more you consume. And the cycle repeats. Emotional consumption, mental consumption, spiritual consumption, and that, in case you hadn't noticed, is also designed. Because the more distracted you are, the more profitable you are. The more exhausted, the more manipulable. The more confused, the more dependent on external solutions. Deep thinking is not only disappearing, it's being replaced by a simulacrum. Motivational phrases that sound good but say nothing. Cheap coaching disguised as wisdom. Supermarket spirituality that promises peace without transformation. And you, wanting to feel better, buy it all. But nothing improves. It only numbs, because the real is not sold, the real is built. And building requires time, and time is the only thing today you no longer know how to inhabit. And now look at yourself. Running all day, comparing yourself to people who also don't know who they are, chasing standards that no one questions, believing you're going somewhere. But where are you really going? If you don't know, maybe you've already arrived. And if you've arrived, but still feel lost, maybe it's time to stop. To do something that terrifies today's world. Stay still. Because only in stillness does what noise hides appear. Clarity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from stopping doing the unnecessary, It comes from fertile emptiness, not sterile excess. And here comes the hardest part of all. If you don't decide where your mind goes, someone else will. If you don't occupy your time with what matters, they will fill it for you. And if you don't cultivate your truth, they will sell you 1,000 lies at a discount. So ask yourself this brutal question right now. Am I living my life, or am I simply playing a character someone else wrote? And if you feel something moving inside when you hear it, it's because the mask no longer fits. And that is a good sign, because what makes you uncomfortable also awakens. And what hurts, if you face it head-on, can be the beginning of your liberation. And if you have made it this far, to this exact point of the video, it means something inside you has started to break. I'm not talking about weakness. I'm talking about necessary fractures, those cracks where light begins to enter. Because no one changes in the middle of comfort. No one wakes up without first having doubted everything. And that's what those who designed this system fear the most. That you start doubting. That you question yourself. That you no longer react as expected. That you no longer consume unconsciously. That you no longer desire what they sold you as essential. That one day you open your eyes and say, I didn't choose this. Because when that happens, you become a threat, not a violent threat, a truly dangerous threat. Because you are someone who thinks, and someone who thinks transforms, doesn't shout, acts, doesn't follow, creates, doesn't copy, breaks molds. And every time one of these appears, the structure cracks a little more. Look around. It's already happening. There are more and more people who turn off their phones for hours, who read, who write, who question everything, who don't need to always be visible to exist. People who don't run, who walk with intention. People who choose silence as a sword. People who no longer let themselves be programmed. You can be one of them. Not tomorrow. Today. Don't wait to have everything clear. Start with discomfort. Because internal chaos is the prelude to awakening. And now, a truth you might not have expected. You're not as alone as you think. There are others out there. Thinking, observing, resisting. They don't make noise, that's why you don't see them. But they're there. And every time one of us removes the mask, another finds the courage to do it too. It's a silent chain, a revolution without banners, an intellectual rebellion. And you've just become part of it. So if this moved you, if something clicked in your head, don't let it dissolve when you close the video. Take it with you. Let it unsettle you. Let it shake you. And if you dare, leave a phrase in the comments. Not everything I desire is mine. Let it seem like a coded message, because it is. Those who understand will understand, and those who don't will remain asleep. But not you. And if you want more of this, if you want to keep deprogramming yourself little by little, subscribe. Not for numbers, not for ego. Subscribe if you're willing to really think, to resist the system from within. Because here, we're not going to give you easy answers. Here we're going to ask you impossible questions. And now, yes, it's time to close this chapter. But don't get it wrong. This was not a video. It was an interruption, a small glitch in the matrix, a crack that opened for a few minutes. And that, if you dare, you can keep widening. So turn this off, close your eyes, and for the first time in a long time, think without permission. See you in the shadows.